welcome to Legend of the Stoned Owl, the episode number 10. This is LOTSO, and my name is Chris, and with me is Justin.
Hi.
Hey, Justin. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I forgot your standard intro. Hey, I was going to ask you, we should mention, Alan's out. He's fishing. You don't hear from him when he's gone, do you?
Not really.
He doesn't call in very often or anything like that. Have you heard from him?
A couple times.
How's he doing?
They're just getting ready.
Oh, they haven't even gone out yet, huh?
No, a lot of prep, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, I suppose there would be on something like that.
Dirty boat.
Yeah, so he'll be out this episode, and at least that next episode he might be back after that. And it's kind of a bummer because we've got the episode I've been looking forward to for a while. It's our big E3, what'd you call it, roundup? What'd you call it? Wrangle?
Yeah.
The Wrangle-Up, yeah. Our E3 Wrangle-Up. So that'll be this episode, and we're going to break it down for you. We're going to attack the software end of it, so, the video game releases, things like that. And then we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the hardware end of it. So you got your Move, your Kinect, your 3DS. That kind of stuff is going to be at the bottom end of the show. And then we'll wrap it all up for you there. So with all that said, let's get into it. All right, guys, it's time for our software section of this episode. Now, our E3 coverage is going to look at kind of our general takeaway of it. Now, we're not going to cover, obviously, everything that got announced. That would be a ton of stuff. But we do have a few highlights, and we've also asked our buddy Jeremy to join us. Hey, James, boom. He's going to be there. He's been covering the E3 stuff right along with us, so we thought, why not have him join us? Now, I think the topic of conversation that I want to launch to from here is a big theme was what was once old is now new again. And what I mean by that is these games that we've seen now for years are just being recreated and replayed. It's almost like there's nothing new they have to come up with, but they're just repackaging this stuff, and not even in not even in that creative of a way.
No, it just looks like an HD version. Not even HD, because that's not how Nintendo rolls.
Right.
But it just looks like a cleaned up version of the old games with worse controls, I'm going to imagine.
Yeah. That being said, I'm probably going to get this game. Now, and I want to talk about that, because the next game that I want to bring up is Goldeneye. And I want to talk about Goldeneye because it's also a recreation of an older game that, again, I'm probably going to get suckered into buying. Because
and you guys covered this on your top games of all time, too.
Goldeneye was on my top list, yeah. And so these guys out here are recreating Goldeneye, and it looks essentially like an improved version of what we used to have.
Mm-hmm. This trailer you're looking at right now is a bunch of studies that they did on tell us what the best multiplayer ever was.
Right. And everybody was saying Goldeneye.
Goldeneye, yeah.
Yeah. Again, this might be something I buy. It doesn't even look that good. It just looks fun. It doesn't look like that big of an improvement, and the graphics don't look all that impressive. The graphics don't look that much farther along than they did. I mean, they look further along, but not as much as they should.
Well, it's because it's on the Wii.
I know, but what do you think? I mean, what do you think, Justin? This what's old is new again crap. Does this appeal to you?
I like it in the arcade. I really like when they do stuff like that.
For a discounted price.
For the arcade and the PlayStation Network, when they just go through the game and make it prettier. There's no reason they should cost $50, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say, too.
I like...
Do you foresee yourself buying any of this stuff?
No, not at all.
You won't?
No. I don't know. I'm not so on board with the Wii as is. So, I like my Xbox and the PlayStation.
Yeah. I understand. What about you, Jeremy? Is this kind of
I don't think that they could ever create a game that recaptured the original GoldenEye feel. That epic multiplayer at the time has since been copied in 100 other titles. You can go get Call of Duty or Medal of Honor or something like that and get better multiplayer these days. So,
right.
It's nostalgia and it's great for what it was, but I doubt it can be great for what it is. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. It's like God of War when they made the God of War collection. They went through and they made it look like the way they said they made it try to look like was the way you remembered it, not beautiful.
Right.
So it wasn't all jaggy with the pixels and all that stuff. They just went through and smoothed it all out.
Cleaned it up.
Everything was the exact same. The way you moved, the way you played, just cleaner.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah, you got 2 games for $40. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, why don't we move on? I'm gonna wait and hold on Goldeneye. I'm not sure if that's a buy yet. I might do it, but I don't know. But let's talk about Portal. Now, this isn't just repackaging an old game. This is actually, this is a little more legit. This is part 2 of what I consider one of the funnest games that came out in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the few games that I've actually played to completion recently, and not have it be multiplayer. I should make that disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they're doing here is you're going back to the same facility. You're going to be in there when it's pretty beat up. It's been repairing itself, but it's still like all messed up. So they've added a lot of texture to it. They've added a lot of leaf, foliage, lighting effects are in there now that weren't in there before, and things are a little meaner. There's a little more aggressive bad guys, maybe even potentially some monsters.
They did mention in an interview at E3 that they still want to keep it as accessible as the original was. So
yeah.
It's not going to be necessarily harder than the original.
Right. One of the other things, though, that looks kind of interesting, have you guys seen this? There's going to be a tractor beam mechanic. You can beam a tractor beam through your portal, so you can use that to like float you or float some gear between portals or launch yourself. So there's going to be kind of a new mechanic there, and it's going to also involve some different tactical abilities and things like that.
It looks so much better.
Yeah, they really look like the graphics look like it's almost a whole new kind of engine.
You know the way Valve always kind of looks. They don't try to go too crazy with graphics. Left 4 Dead, I mean, it wasn't pretty,
right?
But it was, a great game, I suppose. I don't really play it myself, but I understand why it was good.
Well, the really important thing about Portal, and I'm hoping that they can pull this off, is the charm, the originality, and the personalities of the things that you interact with, like those little gun turrets. Those things were hilarious. I love tossing them around just to hear them yell at me.
Oh yeah, in Portal.
I thought about that too. Is they had that song at the end, that little happy song.
Still alive.
And you don't want them to be trying to recreate stuff that maybe it was just kind of go out on a good note type of thing. And
oh
yeah, it's going to be important to try to keep it fresh somehow without being a copy or a caricature.
You can totally see them flogging it to death, but hopefully they're smart enough to realize.
I feel like they're pretty clever folks.
Yeah, everything they've done has been pretty good so far.
So I'm looking forward to Portal 2. I think that's a big win.
And it's probably going to be both PC and Mac, just because the original came out for both now.
Yeah, and Xbox.
So that's another thing to look. Yeah,
and
so a very cross-platform game.
All right, so far the games we've covered, I've kind of intentionally grouped these ones up first, because they all kind of are just a reinvention of the gameplay mechanics that we already know. Now, this next game we're going to talk about is kind of an unusual one for us. It's a Kirby game, and I'm not going to claim it's a reinvention of game mechanics, but it's a Wii game, so I'm also going to be a little skeptical, as I generally am with Wii games. But it actually kind of looks kind of fun. I don't know. It involves a lot of string capturing and manipulating the ground and the paper of like the environment. Like the environment almost has like a paper texture to it, and also I think it has a very subtle look to it that's actually kind of adorable in a weird kind of unrealistic way.
This game looks great to me.
And you're like in this one scene, he's unzipping part of the map, or he's lassoing something and throwing it, or he scrunches something and he's almost like scrunching space and time to like shorten the distance between two places.
I think this game's gonna do pretty. It might not do well in sales, but I can see it doing really good by gamers. As far as people who like great games.
I worry that the Wii mode is not precise enough. Now I haven't used the Wii Plus mode or whatever it's called.
Is it going to be with the Wii mode? You can be able to use a controller.
Well, I don't know about that. It looks like it's designed for the Wii mode to me.
It kind of looks like the way the new Super Mario Brothers was. Where it's, you kind of hold the controller sideways and move them around with the arrows.
That would be awesome.
And then do special little tricks.
I hope so.
Shake the remote.
I hope. Oh man, that would be.
That looks like multiplayer. I just wanted to point that out. 2 people on the same screen, possibly.
Oh, I hadn't heard anything about that.
Look at
I
this.
hadn't either, but it looked like it was in there.
But so now we've got Donkey Kong, Goldeneye, and Kirby all coming to the Wii. That's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. That's
not too bad for the Wii. That's not a bad showing. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the? I don't really have a big thing to say about this, but did you guys just find it interesting that Microsoft got some major exclusives with Activision? for the Call of Duty games and stuff like that. Activision for like the next 2 or 3 years is going to have for the next 3 years is going to have exclusive launches first on the Xbox 360 for their titles, and then over to the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And also another big win was Metal Gear Solid coming to the 360, also going to be on the PlayStation. So another big win for Microsoft. That's pretty interesting, I thought.
The big thing that surprised me about that is I figured within 3 years from now, Microsoft would be looking at a new console. I was hoping anyway.
Before we go on, let's talk about Fallout. So now, why don't you guys share with me what you're all giddy about?
Well, there's a Fallout game, and it's called New Vegas, and that's pretty much all we're giddy about.
Now, Justin,
I know.
are you a big Fallout guy?
I didn't play the first two, but I'm probably one of those Fallout fans that everybody doesn't like because I jumped on when it got popular. But
Well, I was huge into Fallout 1 and 2, and I'm in the demographic that is the type of people that were supposed to be upset with them going from an isometric to a first-person shooter. But, I loved it. I loved Fallout 3 so much.
there's just, you couldn't stop doing things.
Yeah. Beyond that, it's just the setting is so charming. It's that retro sci-fi post-apocalypse thing.
Yeah.
It's just, and the music they use.
That sounds extremely appealing to me, but it sounds like the time commitment again is just so huge. But so this is just an extension of what we've already had with just some polishing and new maps and stuff like that.
It's a whole new area, and
In the same post-apocalyptic timeline, though.
exactly, yeah,
Apocalyptic.
apocalyptic, and they
Apocalypta. Apocalypta.
But what I
Well, this takes place in Vegas, as you might have guessed by the title.
So,
But Fallout 3 was in Washington, D.C. And because there's no mass transit or anything like that in this post-apocalypse world, the two are completely separate from one another in every way.
Huh. Well, this actually sounds like these guys just can seriously deliver on a game. So I can't. I mean,
well, this is actually,
you guys are gotta be pretty excited.
who is this? Obsidian's doing this one.
Oh, different company.
Yeah, but they Bethesda gave the rights to them for the sequel
And the engine.
Yeah. Well, this time I remember in the first one in third person.
Yeah.
When you pulled the left trigger to get a zoom in on your weapon, it just got closer to your weapon. But now this one's actually going to be a down the sights view.
Oh, I see.
So you can still actually play in third person because of that, it was kind of unplayable in the previous game.
I like third person a lot. I shifted around because you get all these nice little, you put your special outfits on and stuff, and you want to see what you look like.
I dig the steampunk look too that they do. I really dig that. A little Bioshocky kind of a thing, which steampunk again. But it just looks sharp. It looks like one of these games that if I all of a sudden had an extra 5 hours a week, I might be able to pick it up.
Oh,
More than that?
Maybe finish it by 2020.
Oh, okay.
yeah. That
Whoa, that's a pretty big commitment. Wow. All right. Anything else before we go on to the hardware
what
section?
about the weapon creation system?
Oh,
the weapons
Let's talk about that.
basically-
This sounds pretty unique.
Every weapon in the game is going to be modular, and you can replace individual pieces of it to build custom weapons for whatever you want to do, whether you want to make them shoot faster or shoot farther or shoot different types of ammo.
Do you think
all
this
that
is going to count for the special weapons you find?
Well, it sounds like it's actually taking place of the crafting system that was in Fallout 3, where you could make some special weapons like the railgun and stuff like that.
Yeah, those were kind of hokey to me. I didn't like them.
I never used any of them.
Yeah, I just got them. I didn't build them for the achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
That's
But
funny.
yeah,
So it sounds like this is taking place of that and actually making some use out of creating things in this world, which is what you would do in post-apocalypse world. You'd take trash and put it together and build something to beat people in the head with.
Yeah.
So,
if you could modify already powerful weapons into more powerful real weapons, that would be sweet.
what if you could add like an auto fire, like a rapid fire to the Lincoln's repeater, that kind of thing?
Oh, you could put like a
Those are
burst
Lincoln's-
fire on it.
Lincoln's repeating machine gun.
Oh,
Enough with that. Let's get into the hardware section. All right, boys and girls, you've tuned in for this long, and now it's time for the hardware review. Now, we understand. You already know what hardware has been announced and what's there and what it does. So we're going to have a conversation about it, what it means, what it does. Is it good? Is it bad? What do we think? And we're going to start with the order in which we believe they were announced at the show, and that's going to be Xbox Kinect. Now, Justin, this was formerly Natal, as you know, and now we got Kinect. And what do you think? Are you into this? Are you buying what they're selling?
Not all of it, but some of it I'm liking.
Like what? Give me an example of something you do like.
I like the way you're able to scroll through your menus.
Oh yeah.
I like the
Voice controls pretty cool too.
I'm not so into voice controls. I don't like speaking when I don't have to.
I know, but what if you're home by yourself and like there's you're just like in the kitchen and you just want to shout something to the TV to do something?
Oh, well, I guess that could be cool, but that would be actually good. But I just don't like saying things out loud to myself when I'm by myself.
Yeah, you'd rather just have like a remote on a radio or a radio remote or something that goes through walls.
It'd be fine. I like the motion controls.
Yeah.
I think it's neat. I think it's going to be cool to finally have an HD kind of
hope-
Wii device.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that with the PlayStation also, just having all that kind of technology, but HD finally.
I do also. I am almost a little bit buying into this. Now I'm gonna say up front, I gotta bet most of you out there are pretty poo-pooed on this, just based on the feedback we're getting in the live chat room. People are not liking Kinect, hating on it pretty hard. But I do almost kind of wonder if the potential for in-home fitness maybe is actually real, because where We Fit couldn't really work with you as intimately in a way. I guess from my understanding, based on the demo, the game is aware of the human body in 48 different points. So well so that during the demonstration, the scout could take off a jacket, and the avatar was able to sense that she took off her jacket and represented the same movement. The other thing that's really great about that is it gives it the ability to tell if you're not doing the form of a pose correctly. So if you're not doing the exercise in the proper motion, it can help you do the proper form. And that's really where it has a leg up over what the Wii can offer or what the motion can offer. What do you think of that, dude? Are you have any interest in this kind of stuff?
That is creepy. I mean, are they actually looking at your bones?
Well, what they do is the game has the ability with the infrared sensor and the camera to sort of scan your body mass, get a feel for your average weight, height, the overall potential health of you, and then recommend a sports fitness program based around your current status. And then it's able to help you monitor. It gives you your exact measurement, height, your hip line, everything. It's your shoulder span. I mean, it is amazing the amount of data it can pull off of your body. I almost wish this technology wasn't in the Xbox. I wish this was like in my bedroom bathroom. Like I want this in my mirror, integrated in my mirror with my entertainment system. I want my health tracking done in there. It's intimate information that you don't want to really do out in the public, but it's also so helpful. I mean, it is a real tool too.
It's all this information with an Ethernet installed into the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's privacy laws, but I'm sure there's also fine print in the games that says we can use this wherever we want to.
Very, very likely. That's a little disturbing.
Then we can find out how fat we all are.
And they can tie it to our Xbox ID account.
How much we play, our gamer scores, and all that crap.
This kind of thing could get some players off of their butt. That could be good, right?
Yeah, they tried it with the Wii, and like you said...
But this is more real. You really got to move.
It is. I saw that when you're doing the move wrong, they show you a red mark on where you did it wrong, and you just got to lift it up higher, put it where you need to.
Yeah. And the interface that they use, she can touch menus that are in the air and things like that. Again, that would actually almost be really great, like in the kitchen. Imagine if you could issue commands to your appliances this way. It's like this almost feels like a waste of it. It seems like this amazing thing that we need throughout everywhere else in the house except for our game consoles to me.
It's, shifting the focus from just sitting down all day to, America's problem is obesity, and you can get people interested in something like this.
That'd be great.
And it would be great, but
I don't really think it's gonna ever replace the real hardcore gaming core, though.
It can't. I don't think it has a shot.
It's just too different, and it's just
You got to think.
not relaxing enough.
Having, multiplayer sessions in your house. People that like to, co-op in the same room on a split screen.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine two people bouncing around like that? I don't know.
Well, one of their games here, they're on a raft, and if you both are in the raft, you both have to jump at the same time, and you have to dodge the same direction. It looks actually kind of fun, but kind of fun I'd probably have for a couple of weeks, and then I'd pick it up every now and then when I had people over. That kind of fun. Not the kind of fun where It's not your kind of fun where it's going to be that immersive gameplay that is that game that really sticks with you. Okay, what's your verdict on Kinect? Is this something you're going to pick up?
Yeah, it's only $150.
Yeah.
That's not expensive. I thought it was
No.
going to be $200,
Though-
$250.
I was surprised to see, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but the Move, which we'll talk about, was priced at $100. So that's interesting. Before we move on from all of the Xbox news, let's talk a little bit about the new Xbox hardware that came out. They released an updated Xbox. They just call it the new Xbox.
Xbox
Smaller.
360S.
They call it Whisper Quiet, and people have said it is indeed very quiet. Yeah, 250 gigs built in, Wi-Fi, and this is a nice to have. I'm not feeling the pressure to rush out and go buy this, though. Are you?
No. If it was a next generation console, I'd be all about it. But
Sure, yeah. I mean, if I was going to pick up another 360,
if they told me they, sharpened up the graphics on it somehow, then I'd get it in a heartbeat.
you know what I found funny? No more red ring. If it dies, it will have a red dot. The power button will be a red dot, but there will be no more red ring. They wanted to
Shirk the image.
they wanted to get rid of the image. Isn't that funny?
Whatever, baby steps.
Yeah, I guess so.
The red dot of death doesn't sound so horrible either, though.
No, I know.
It'll be
Red
something.
dots kind of catchy too. I got red dotted. I got red dotted. All right, now why don't we talk a little bit about a PlayStation Move? So that was Sony. I mean, that's what we got from Microsoft. I think we're both wait and see. We'll probably pick it up.
Once my Xbox breaks, I'm getting that for
Yeah.
sure, and
Yeah.
I'll get Natal the first day if it's around.
So now let's talk a little about PlayStation Move. It's a much more accurate, much more advanced version of the Wiimote. I'm just saying that. It's a really well done Wiimote with a cool ball that makes me look like a wizard. Don't you think?
No, I like it. Anything
You like it?
I like it all. I mean, I'm really happy with Natal and this. And the fighting game for the Move, I mean, it's finally all that, like I said before, is HD Wii. It's all anybody's ever really wanted is to sharpen up the controller.
The
and
controls look
HD.
really accurate.
They look great.
I don't like that you have to get the nunchuck controller thing separately, or the controller pad for it.
Oh, dude, it doesn't make sense. And I don't even think, back to Xbox, I don't think they're putting an HDMI cable in the Xbox 360. Yes,
That's ridiculous.
it is ridiculous.
Now, Sony was pushing also really hard a lot of their 3D titles, and they're pushing along with the Bravia 3D line. A lot of 3D being talked about. So before we go on to 3D, anything noteworthy about Move? Are you going to pick up Move? $100.
$100 probably.
I don't know if I am, to be honest with you. I
Well,
just don't know what I want.
I'm going Natal first, or Kinect first for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, me too.
Because the motion controls kind of exist already.
I think also if Kinect works, it's a cooler interface design. I like the no controller thing with no batteries a lot.
That is pretty neat.
I like just walking in front of my machine and it recognizes me. And this looks like a very advanced wand, but that just feels, now that maybe is old. Maybe it's what we need still, I don't know. But if Kinect is as precise as Microsoft claims it is, then Move, in my opinion, is going to look a little old.
Yeah,
It's a gamble, but maybe not. Because with weapons, I think Move has an advantage. I think Move, they have this really cool gun adapter. I think that really has a strong advantage over what Kinect can do. So there's definitely some room there. It's just going to be interesting. It's just going to really come down to what the devs do with it. And it's going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited for future.
Yeah. All right. Now, I was talking a little bit about it. Sony has been all about the 3D. 3D this, 3D that. And also, so is Nintendo. In fact, Nintendo says that one day we're going to think of 3D TV, or we're going to think of games that aren't 3D as like the old school classic games. 3D is going to be the way it goes. And they introduced 3D with their new Game Boy, their new 3DS. Or the Nintendo DS. I guess they don't call it the Game Boy anymore. The Nintendo 3DS.
I don't know if it's like we're talking to, if they pull it off, they pull it off. I haven't seen this thing in my hand.
So I guess the way it kind of works is there is some advanced sciencey stuff to it that people say it does actually look pretty darn 3D, but you have to be pretty much dead on to it. Now, what I wanted to point out about the 3DS is it has a new wireless system that is actually the neatest thing I think about it. I'm really not all that impressed by the graphics. I think they look good, but I'm not all that. What do you think? Graphics?
They look better. I mean,
Just not amazing, right?
do you see how those DSs were tied to those ladies?
Yeah.
They were so nobody could take them from them.
Mm-hmm.
That was wild.
Now here's an interesting thing. The new wireless system in these 3DSs allows them to communicate with other 3DSs even while they're sleeping.
How so?
I don't know, but they can link up. Now get this. If you have a game where like you have like dogs or whatever you might have where someone else can do stuff, they will be able to participate in that even if that's not the game you are playing, or even potentially when your DS or 3DS is sleeping. It's some sort of new wireless mechanism. It's over Wi-Fi, but it's something they're working on.
So I can, if you have animals, I can pet your animals with my game from across the hall.
Even if my thing's sleeping, or if I'm playing another game.
I'm just excited to see what it looks like in my hands because that's the only thing. You know, this looks fine, but it looks pretty choppy.
Yeah, I want somebody hack that wireless system. Yeah, the graphics just, to me, Nintendo is not pushing forward with the graphics any further because they're
going through it with the business end because I was reading something, and they said imagine a bunch of 45-year-old parents with their kids walking through Target, and then they look at this little kiosk, and all they see is characters popping up from it, 3D, just walking past it is bam right there, and they see it's only $180 or something. They say they got those people dead to rights.
Yeah, totally. And I guess that's what sells and whatever. I feel bitter about it sometimes.
Yeah, I'm very bitter about it.
All right. So that was Nintendo's big thing with 3DS. Just a funny note. Gizmodo ran a picture this week of the head honcho of Nintendo over watching a Kinect demo.
Really?
Yeah, pretty funny. I guess he's pretty well known for walking the show floor. It's kind of like been his thing. And I think good on him, to see what the other guys are doing. But I'll tell you, he did not look like a happy dude in that photo.
I don't know. I just don't understand this whole entire everything's going to be 3D or nothing. It's
I know.
Garbage.
I know.
I don't agree with it.
I don't either. Yeah, so OnLive, they launched at the end of E3. They had a big presence there. They had live gameplay. Now, just a quick recap for the folks that aren't familiar with OnLive. It is essentially what they call cloud gaming in the sense that all of the video card rendering essentially is done on the online servers, and then they stream you the results. And then they stream back your controls, and they stream you the results. So the idea being you could be on a Mac and playing a PC game, or you could be on a PC playing an Xbox 360 game, or you could be on their little hardware console thing that isn't available yet, that could be playing any one of those games hooked up to your TV with a Xbox controller hooked up or whatever. Now, the whole idea is that the games that do work on their platform, and my understanding is that there is some level of porting that has to be done. And it looks really nice, and if it works, it's going to be revolutionary because it means you won't have to always have the latest this, that, or whatever to play a game. You'll just subscribe to this OnLive service, which that subscription will include access to their entire catalog. And, of course, for the first year, because they're going to be working out the bugs, I suspect, if you get in one of their early adopter programs, you will get the service free for the entire year. Those that don't get it free for the entire year, I believe I read will have like some sort of $5 a month service. It's some sort of drastically reduced service. When you hear this kind of thing, do you buy it? Do you think this is possible?
I don't know. It's scary. Do you think I'd have? Do you have to have nice video cards to do this, or
that's the entire intention is that you don't, because all the video card rendering is done at their end, and they just send you the result.
So I should be able to play a game as well as anywhere.
Well, there's going to be some definite compression, and I'm sure they have to render it at a slightly lower quality in order to render it at a certain speed. But in theory, the latest game could be on the OnLive service, and you could just have the little tiny OnLive box hooked up to your TV. They'll do a 720p max resolution if you have a good internet connection. They claim they've invented a proprietary video codec that enables a super low latency. And the people that have played it has said it is nearly indistinguishable. Brian Brushwood was doing it live on Twit Live one time, and he said that it felt maybe at most what he called a little soupy to respond, but nothing that he couldn't quickly accommodate for.
What do you mean soupy?
Like the controls maybe just had a little slush to them, a little slushy to respond.
That'll be cool.
See, that's the hardware controller right there. Oh, I should show it to the people watching too. That's the little hardware box, and all it is one wire in is the controller, and then the other 2 wires are HDMI and Ethernet. And the HDMI goes to your TV, the Ethernet goes to the internet, and the USB goes to your controller. And then you are streaming any game you want, PC game or not, to your TV.
I just hate to have to rely on internet for games, though.
But don't you almost already?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't play a lot of multiplayer. I can play everything offline.
See,
if I
my
wanted
games
to.
I do. You could stay a couple of toes in the PC gaming market without having to invest heavily in a PC. So you could remain focused on the consoles. But
That would be nice to play,
I believe, yeah.
Diablo.
I believe for a guy like you that wants to just play a little Diablo and doesn't want to have to dump him, I think that's going to work for you. Maybe not these first persons because there's just going to be latency. I just don't see it working. I just can't see how this is going to work right. I'm going to try it. I want to see how it works. And I bet for certain types of games like MMOs or like Diablo, things like that, I think it could work because it's that overhead more strategy based, But this stuff where you got to have that precision gun control where you got to just get the target dead on. Boy, that seems like any kind of latency, even over a LAN, is just rough.
That's going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, because you're also going to have an accompanying OnLive profile. And an OnLive profile is going to have like all your stored games and all the games you've purchased. Because if you purchase a game or you rent a game, they're available in your catalog at any time.
Because this what you're kind of thinking too is, so you got Microsoft Studio game, Forza. You think they'll let Forza onto there? Or you think they'll hold it for themselves?
I don't see it. I don't see anybody. I gotta figure they're not gonna.
So
Unless
that means
there's
the
a way
dashboard and all that stuff is going to stick with Xbox.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, it's really got to be. They've got to have maybe a warehouse full of 360s or something streaming it, because if you can't get some of these key titles, then you lose the advantage of the service. If the service can't provide nearly absolutely everything you'd want, what's the point if you end up having to buy a console or a PC anyways? So as soon as they kind of start to fall at that, don't they kind of fail?
This exclusivity thing's going to go crazy pretty soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I think PC gaming right now has a pretty significant leg up in terms of graphics over the consoles. It feels a little bit like maybe Sony and Microsoft and definitely Nintendo are just kind of pushing these new game type interfaces so that way they can just get more money out of their existing hardware.
I like the idea of a longer hardware cycle, though.
I do too. I do kind of like that. I'm torn on it. I don't want to be taken advantage of and be held back. And now I feel like, okay, well, the graphics quality is getting a little low. So I could use a bump, guys. Okay, I've been playing Alan Wake just a little bit, right? And I think it's a good-looking game.
That game's been in development for so long, though. I mean...
It doesn't blow me. It's a good-looking game, and it is a fun game. I like it quite a bit. I don't know. I'm not devastated by the graphics, though.
I don't know, because I could go either way with this, because when a game gets, like, Crackdown is cel-shaded, I am all about that. Or Borderlands. I mean, I don't know we need to have these crazy realistic graphics. I don't mind cartoony stuff as long as the gameplay is solid.
There is that excitement of that first time you see something new in a game.
When I brought Call of Duty 2 home with my Xbox, I about shit my pants.
No, really?
Yeah.
It just looks so amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how wonderful
Isn't that
it was.
exciting? It's just exciting when that happens.
It was exciting, but how much further can they push the technology? I mean, the TVs, that's what this 3D thing is.
I know.
That's what they're getting you ready for, Chris. They're getting you ready for 3D.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on E3, what you thought was extremely awesome, exciting, or maybe a huge disappointment. Did you feel like a lot of it was just a little... No, there definitely was some new games, and if you'd like us to talk about some of those, let us know. And if you thought a lot of it was just kind of what's old was new is blah, 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 again, well, we want to hear that too. Head over to jupitercolony.com. That's my long way of telling you that. Look in there for the LOTSO section and share your feedback. All right? All right, dude. Well, we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. This is a fortnightly show at jupiterbroadcasting.com. And it comes out, what time do we come out? Thursday mornings usually.
Yep.
Thursday mornings at jupiterbroadcasting.com every other week. And until then, everyone, we'll talk to you later.
for listening to Legend of the Stoned Owl.
Legend of the Stoned Owl is produced over at JupiterBroadcasting.com. That's where you can find the show, subscribe, all those good things, leave us feedback, and also where you'll find us every 2 weeks. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'll see you in a fortnight.